Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me and you can see me. Could you just write yes or no in the chat, just to make it a little bit more.
Session now, because we still can hear you in the central session.
Okay, so should I exit this by pressing the cross button at the bottom?
Yes, I think that's
Okay.
that's the way to go. Yeah.
All right.
You should be able to present.
Perfect. So, we had some confusion over going to the room, and they were still able to hear me back in the main room, so I had to exit from there.
Jullie zijn allemaal on mute, toch?
Okay, I see that you can't hear me.
Ik denk dat wij iemand nog hier horen, niet?
But most of you can hear me, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. Then I'm gonna quickly share my presentation with you.
Oké.
Er komen nog steeds de deelnemers bij, dus dan ik blijf het opnieuw de hele tijd posten. Links. Ik denk dat heel veel mensen 2 sessies open hebben staan nu.
Can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all in this meeting on project Food Waste Transition from Excess to Enough. I will briefly introduce myself. My name is Nikita Sharda. My area of research is consumer behavior, and I've been working in the area of food waste since last 2 years. I served as a lecturer in marketing and consumer behavior group in Wageningen University. I've taught courses like Principles of Consumer Studies, Supply Chain Management, Statistics, and Consumer Decision Making. I've also supervised BSc and MSc thesis students. Currently, I'm involved as a postdoc in this project for the next 2 years. So what we know is that the existing food system is grounded in assumptions of the need for excess and elaborate choice to cater for consumers' uncertain preferences and demands for food anywhere and anytime. And this may be attractive from a consumer satisfaction perspective, but it comes at considerable societal costs. Because the resources are used inefficiently, and both at the retailer and the household level. I'm just quickly gonna check if everybody can hear me. Could you just nod your head, because if I open the screen for WebEx, then you will be seeing too many screens on your screen. Okay. So the large amount of food wasted is an impressive example, and we know that these are the visible signs that the current food system is not sustainable. And what's needed is a transition of the system at the economic and behavioral level. Food waste is hence a topic of high political relevance, and EU has the ambition of halving the food waste by 2030, and the highest carbon footprint of wastage occurs at consumption phase. And to mitigate this climate change for developed countries, the largest needed reduction in food waste concerns distribution and consumption. So wasting food can be seen as a collateral damage resulting from the behaviors that we aim at other goals, for example, providing tasty, healthy, and convenient food. But for consumers, such behaviors include meal planning, for example, purchasing, storing, preparing, and consuming. For retailers, they include transporting, distributing, storing, pricing, and presenting in assortments. So in this project, behavior concerns the wastage of food in consumer, household, and in retail. A transition is a structural change in the food system for which both technological and societal developments are needed, and which requires broad support from all the stakeholders in the food system. And in the current project, we are talking about transition that includes new retail concepts and the new retail concepts that change the food system, and a change in mindset. That is a people's frame of mind, which affects perception and evaluation processes. The transition is required to reach the highest EU ambition of halving food waste by 2030. So, in line with the call to speed up the needed transitions, this project aims to develop a roadmap towards a food system with minimal food waste. And instead of increasing the efficiency within the current food system by optimizing planning or logistics, what we do is we will look for a different system that can cope better with inherently unpredictable dynamics that we were just talking about, that it's difficult to predict consumer demand, for example. And we use a systems approach that includes all stakeholders at multiple levels in society to examine the effects of these interventions on the food system and determine the optimal conditions at retailer, consumer, and other stakeholder level under which these interventions will have maximum impact. So we focus on the interventions specifically on retail concepts as well as the consumer's mindset, since the retail currently dominates the food system and because most food waste occurs in households. At the demand side, consumers they have trouble predicting their consumption levels because of changes in their preferences and unexpected events throughout the week. So a mindset shift is therefore needed from fear of too little to concern about too much. And we investigate how this can be accomplished when and what it entails for the way households manage their food. And at the supply side, new retail concepts are needed. Based on minimization of food waste, these concepts challenge the idea that food should be available in huge amounts and variety in big displays in retail stores. So we examine the consumer responses to new concepts and the effects on household food waste. These are our consortium partners who have agreed to assist us in the project by providing inputs in stakeholder meetings, helping in setup of natural experiment, dissemination of results, supporting for practical designs of interventions, and their feedback can improve our ideas, concepts, and prototypes. In this project, there are three main elements of my tasks as a postdoc. First is insights into consumer behavior. And in this part, I will determine the consumer interventions by diving into the academic literature and then testing these interventions. I'll do this by providing large set of tools to the participants, and Fooding Centrum will provide these tools. In this research, we're looking at the effect of the combination of tools instead of individual effect of each tool. And this will form the basis for the second part of the objective. In the second part, we'll determine the effectiveness of the interventions. For this, we'll develop waste measurement instrument, and measurement will be done with the help of Fooding Centrum and ACV, a waste collector, where we can objectively measure the differences in the actual food waste in grams and then compare it with self-reported measurements. So we'll conduct a pre and a post study, which will help us to understand the effectiveness of the interventions that we're testing. The second element is to provide an overview of the existing as well as emerging business models in the food system. So the existing retail concepts will be investigated through academic literature and through the support of our partners in the food industry. This overview will provide a guide to developing new retail concepts, and based on the current knowledge and the visions that we will be developing, and I'll come to this part later. we will develop new retail concepts. And the last element is the development of future visions. This involves envisioning a future towards a different food system that will lessen the food waste in household and in retail level. And this is very important because it involves diving into the future by emigrating from the present, and developing future visions will inspire new ways of providing food. And we use methods developed to create new frames of thought, such as vision and design. This project begins by developing visions. So in the month of November and December, we will conduct in-depth interviews with our partners to develop these visions. And after this step, the next step in the process will be to select the most relevant visions. And that will be done through focus group interviews in the spring next year. So once we have developed and selected the visions, the PhDs involved in the project will take these visions to conduct further research on them. And based on these visions, we'll design interventions that are targeted towards consumers and new retail concepts, because both of these are at the core of transition. In this project, we will obtain an overview of the food system. We'll understand the reasons why people prefer excess over enough. We'll come up with new retail concepts, and we will design interventions, effective interventions to reduce food waste. Thank you. You may ask questions. You can unmute yourself and
Hi, this is Ellen.
hi.
Thank you for your presentation. I was wondering, do you have already some results, or can you give any clue where it's going to?
Yeah, we don't have any results so far, because the kind of interventions that we will be designing, it will really depend upon the kind of visions that will be created. And we are just going to start with conducting stakeholder interviews in November and in December. So it will only be after those visions that will be developed that we'll be able to have something to, some direction to start working on. So far, we don't know.
Okay. Thank you. But for me, it is a bit difficult then to come up with any questions, because you're still in the beginning of your research.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have just started this project in the month of August, and so it's only been a couple of months, and we are setting up everything, and yeah, so the process is just about to begin.
But I must say it sounds promising, and I'm looking forward to the result.
Oh, I'm happy to know that. We also hope that we get something really useful.
So maybe someone else has a question. I will mute myself again.
But what you just asked is, in fact, is the same question that we often ask ourselves, because the whole process of envisioning is kind of a black box. You don't know what you will get.
Yes, but it's very interesting, I think.
Oh, I'm
Very
very
looking
happy to know
forward
that.
to know what's coming, what the results will be.
Thank you.
Nikita, hello,
Mhm.
I'm Shanna Goots. I work at in Utrecht.
I
And hi, I was wondering, how is the reaction of the retailers that you're working with? Were they enthusiastic? Is it a theme that they are worried about also, to reduce food waste? Or
so so far we have got very enthusiastic responses from the retailers we have spoken to. But in the end, we know that the interventions that we will come up may or may not fit all the retailers in the market. So that is why one of our objectives is to see the value conflicts within the stakeholders, and then creatively come up with a solution where they are able to, where they are ready to adopt the change, or take the intervention. Not intervention, so that they're ready to take up a step to change and be more sustainable. But it indeed is quite challenging, because because of the value conflicts, that on one side they want to maximize their profit, and on the other side they also want to be sustainable and be sustainable in all their practices. So that is where we are continuously going to keep them engaged throughout the project, that they see how it is evolving, and that motivates them to take a step.
yes, because I'm working on a little project. I'm trying to change in a suburb in Utrecht. I'm trying to work on, how do you say that? People who have just poor people who are not able to buy enough food for their children and cook a healthy meal. And sometimes I'm thinking about, how could you mix food waste with trying to get this food waste to poor people.
Yeah.
So it's not wasted again. It's ending in a place where it is really cherished, and not
Yeah.
just through food banks, because food banks sometimes are really something people are ashamed to go to. So can it be? So perhaps that's also a vision you can. I don't know if you can work with that, but I see a lot of poor people who are just not getting the food they need for their
Yeah.
children. And then if you think about food waste, it would be great if it would end up with these people.
Yeah. Yeah, what you're saying is indeed true. But what I just learned from what you said is that going to food bank can indeed be shameful for some people, so they may not want to step up and ask for it, because they're not proud of it.
Yes.
So I think that's another area of research, where researchers can look upon it as to how social status can come in the way of redistributing the food. And other than that, what you just mentioned about, being able to supply food to the needy, to be able to really get them, I think there are already initiatives to do that. For example, Too Good To Go. You can directly order the food, and you can just go and pick it up from the store. So one does not.
Yeah, and sometimes it's still it still costs too much money for people who are really
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Yeah,
So
even though it's reduced rice, that's true. Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard the initiative of the Lidl, who um, um, shared boxes with fruit and vegetables at the end of the week for €3, and it was a box full of food, which would be. I'm thinking about concepts like that, which could be applied perhaps more broadly into
Yeah,
food waste, and then it's available for everyone.
yeah,
And it's not something just for the poor people, so they are ashamed to use it.
yeah.
But okay, that's just an idea. I'll let other people think about it. But if you could take it into account, that would be great. It's I'm very curious how you're coming up
Yeah,
with new concepts. So
I'll make a note of that. Yeah.
thank you so much, and good luck with the research.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
More questions?
Hi, Nikita. I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Hi. Well, thanks for sharing your research plan. I had some audio difficulties, so if I'm asking something you already shared, please let me know. But I
Okay.
was wondering, you talked about the interventions, and of course, they depend on the vision, so you're not sure yet. But could you maybe elaborate a bit on where you plan to get inspired when it comes to the interventions you're going to use, and also how you're going to measure their effectiveness?
Yeah. Right now we have started to already test some tools provided by Fooding Centrum, for example, 8 Matya. That's how you call it in Dutch, a measuring cup, and a couple of some motivational elements. And we are looking it through MOA model. That's motivation, opportunity, ability theory, which explains that for a behavior to for someone to perform the behavior, these three elements are essential for to help somebody to perform a behavior. And what we are doing right now is we are testing these tools, and we'll see when you ask me a question about the understanding the effectiveness of these interventions, in order to be able to do that, we are doing a pre-study and a post-study. So we see how much have these interventions resulted in behavioral change, and then we can actually be able to see if these interventions are really effective.
Okay. And you plan to use pre-existing interventions, if I understand it correctly?
Yes, before the visions are developed, we will use the existing tools for designing the intervention. But once we have the visions, then we can come up with new ways of testing the interventions, and we can design those interventions accordingly.
And when it comes to that part of that phase of the research, do you already have an idea of where to base your newly developed interventions on? Where will you get the inspiration?
I don't quite understand when you're asking me about inspiration. What inspiration exactly?
To think of interventions, to design interventions.
Okay. Visions are going to inspire us to design the interventions. And of course, we can't do it in isolation. So we are already testing the tools that are available, and researchers are already using it. But that is again the problem, as you mentioned, that people have not determined the effectiveness of these interventions. So we are trying to take it to next level, and then we see what visions provide us, and then we'll come up with new interventions that can help in reducing food waste.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. May I ask what do you all think are the important factors, when we look into the future of the food system? What do you think would be important?
Hi, hi Nikita.
Hi.
Here I am again. I'm sorry. I was thinking about, for me, it would be great if cycles would be smaller. So if food would be something that's not just that people make more connection with food and where it comes from, but it's on a different level that I say this, because if you realize how much effort it would have costed to put it on your plate, it's perhaps you don't throw it away so easy. So that could be an aspect that could be helpful
Yeah, so you mean to say that maybe educating people about where the food on their plate is coming from will help in reducing food waste.
And if it would come from closer to home,
Yeah,
so you know the person who delivered it, or I don't
yeah,
know, perhaps that would help.
yeah. No, of course it will. Yeah, yeah,
So that was one thing. I'm
yeah.
thinking about another one. I'll
Well,
give other
well, thank you
people
so much for your thoughts.
Okay.
Anyone else having an idea about where the future will lead us, and what can be the new ways in which we can provide food that will lead to lesser food waste?
I can share an idea too. I think what we're currently seeing, as in the readily available food packages that
Mhm.
are adjusted to your household. So, for example, you have like HelloFresh,
Yeah,
which brings so much convenience to
yeah,
households. I think that's going to get bigger and bigger because people are willing to pay for more convenience.
yeah.
And I also think that could provide opportunities to reduce food waste because it's all adjusted to the household.
Mhm.
So I think that's going to be an interesting development for your field.
Yeah. But what I see is that both these thoughts are so different than each other. One is really about having an emotional connect with the food that you are going to have, and other is about getting everything conveniently, which will that probably gives me a sense that people will get more distant from the food they are eating. So one is minimizing the distance, another is creating more distance. But convenience would not necessarily mean that, would it be? Could can we also probably give convenience to the consumers by providing them everything and also giving them information about where the food is coming from? Can we do both?
I think you can, but I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with HelloFresh, but I think they already do that somehow. I mean, they provide the products fresh. They have this application that comes along, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody else knows more about it, but I feel like they are trying to educate people a bit or involve them in the process of food. But maybe somebody else.
I know that Marley Spoon sometimes puts the label on the package, for example, says it comes from farmer X and Y. So then you also have a little bit more connection to where does it come from, or have a little picture of the farmland where it was grown, or you could do it very easily. And I must say, Monique, that indeed these concepts like Marley Spoon or HelloFresh, they do work very well because there is not so much food waste anymore. I would hope they get sustainable packages because
Yeah,
it is a lot of waste. So
yeah,
that's really, for me, just something that makes me want to turn off these, this Marley Spoon and HelloFresh. But I think if they can fix that one,
yeah.
that would be
Yeah, that is indeed one of the biggest customer complaint that the packages from HelloFresh, they produce a lot of waste. The packaging waste is just too much. May I ask one last question? What do you think, in your opinion, would be the new ways of retailing? You know, what new retailing concepts can come up in the future? For example, I had this idea of having a driverless car delivering groceries in neighborhoods. And because of the frequency that the food will be provided, there's going to be lesser chances of food waste. People will not bulk purchase, and they will only buy what they need for the day, and they consume it, and then they buy more food the very next day. So something like this, could you think of how retailing can change in future, or how we can change it in the future, so that we have lesser food waste?
May I ask a question?
Yes,
Do
please.
you have any idea where the most of the food waste takes place? Is it in the households? Is
Yes.
it in the supply chain? Where is it? Because when you know that, you can come with some ideas.
Yeah, it is in the household level in developed countries.
So people have to buy less.
Current research actually shows that when people are buying frequently, they are wasting less food because they're only buying what they need for the next few days. But when they are making a bulk purchase, a lot of food end up getting wasted in their refrigerator. You know, the food lies in the back of the refrigerator and they have no idea. Although they didn't buy it with the intention of wasting it, but they thought that they will need it, and it's probably better to have the variety of food in the fridge than to have nothing. So that is all the project is about, moving from excess to enough. And how do we determine what is enough, and how do we help consumers understand what is enough for them? So providing tools and testing interventions. And yeah, it is the long story short, it is in the household level that we see that maximum amount of food is getting wasted.
I don't know. I think I'm an example of someone who buys too much. Not very much too much, but regularly I have to throw my vegetables or cheese or something. So I don't know if I can change that.
Yeah, no, of course, there are some tools available already. For example, having stickers in your refrigerator, color coding can help you to, keep on the top of the mind which products are going to expire soon, and then you can probably have some recipes around those ingredients that you can, quickly use and avoid food waste.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can think about it.
Okay.
You just have to buy less, I think.
Yeah, that is actually the key, buy less, only think of what you are going to have today and tomorrow, only buy what you need, and then go back to the supermarket. But I can understand it's a bit challenging during Corona times because we don't want to go to supermarket that regularly, right? So maybe online ordering is an option.
And if then your suggestion would be able to work, just driving around with a cart with fresh fruit, food that would be delivered.
Bread and cheese and all the perishable items every day.
Perhaps,
so you're buying it fresh, eating it fresh. So yeah, good for the environment, good for your health.
Yes. If you do it in an environmental friendly way.
Yeah. electric cars.
Yes, for example, you have to think about that as well. So that won't be how do you say that? Discouragement for people to use that kind of service. But I think it could, perhaps that could work.
Yeah. But it does.
Price again, as if the price is the same as in the supermarket, then it's okay. If it's higher, then so that's always for Dutch people, or perhaps for everyone. But
yeah,
we used to have a system like that.
Yes,
like SRV. It was a small supermarket coming through the streets. But it disappeared because now all people are going to supermarkets, and so I don't know.
But Ellen didn't. But I think when that changed because the supermarkets were cheaper than buying from the SFA entrepreneur. So I think that was the issue, that it disappeared in the end, and everybody got a car. So it drove the car to the supermarket. So I think that was as well.
I think price variability was another issue because with each entrepreneur, having their own businesses, the same gram of food would the price of the same gram of food would be different than the other. So people go to supermarket with a trust that they know that, this is what they will get in this amount, and perhaps they may land up getting discounts and bonuses. So yeah, I think that's also a big reason why people switched from buying to individual retailers to the supermarkets. Very interesting session, and I thank you all for thinking with me and creating a wonderful discussion here.
It's a interesting topic, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Great presentation. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish you good luck. Yes,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do we get to the main room from here?
I think leave. I have
And
two
then-
sessions open.
Okay.
Or I used to have, at least.
Okay. I'll figure it out. No worries. See you there.
I'll just leave and hope for the best.
Yeah. Bye.